All right, good morning, cyber traders. Welcome on back to wrap up our week here this Friday, June 24th, shortly after 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Great to see Bill, Brian, Bob. Got the Bees inside our trading room. How about that? Great to see all of our students and trial members alike inside our trading room. Great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube. I'm tagging in for Fausto this morning. I got the late tag last night, so I was ready to go for this morning, folks. So, with that said, we have a lot to talk about here going into the market open. We have the BHAT trade at least on the screen here to begin. It's up, over 35% right now, making another big push like it ended up making just from yesterday. So really quickly to begin, just, to be efficient with time, we'll start off by putting the stock just on the watch list to begin. But to go over the move that this ended up making actually from yesterday, because like I just said, we had our eyes on this stock all from yesterday, from the morning heading into the early afternoon. And I want to show you the historical charts as well, because that's the bigger talking point as it's been throughout this entire week. So, the BHAT trade ended up taking a little while to get going. Shortly after 10 a.m., we ended up seeing just a big volume spike, and then from there it only continued. Oftentimes with these, spikes throughout the mid-morning, late morning, early afternoon, you tend to see a lot of them die off. And when they die off, well, the stock normally dies off with it. So it makes her a pretty risky, dangerous play. You got to watch out. You got to set your stops. Well, thankfully, the volume increased on this trade after 10 a.m. and kept going for a little bit. And even as it ended up declining, the volume that is, well, it ended up making a higher low. It ended up holding support. And then from there, we had the break of resistance and then the run higher. So this was a beautiful move throughout most of the day. The BHAT trade. Now, I just brought up before, it's the daily chart or historical chart that, is the bigger talking point. So not just on this trade, but the entire week we've been talking about this here, right? Specifically myself, and I know Fausto has as well when he's been doing the morning meetings this week. It's to say that, this stock ended up falling off from like 18, 22 bucks just from last year all the way down. Now, these are not swing trade recommendations, folks. Some of them do continue day over day. Some, not all of them, right? So that's a pretty ambiguous, word to use. So you don't really want to, look to risk your money on that. Normally when the volume dies off again, these stocks tend to dump off. So you need to be very careful. These are specifically day trade types of stocks. But with that said, there could be a lot more to work with on this BHAT trade. And it's been evidenced so far that at least, in pre-market this morning, the big run up early after 4 o'clock when pre-market opened. And then now at this point, it's making another big squeeze at least up to resistance off of 380. I think we ended up seeing resistance there build throughout pre-market. Just give me a quick second. I'm going to try and bring up my book map here, my level 4, just for all of us on YouTube here. I know Fausto, typically shows that. I always want to like to show that, as well. So with that, I have it on SIGA here. So bear with me. Here we go. BHAT. We ended up seeing a huge iceberg order, 380 for about 106, 107,000 shares that were on the ask. Well, over time, that order actually did get pulled. Got pulled from the book. It didn't get filled yet. And it hasn't really, shown that much since. Now we have about 14,000 on the ask. So, I'm still recognizing that as a major resistance. That order could easily pop back up. It could also pop up at a lower or higher price. So, always keep your eye on the order book just anyway. For right now, BHAT will definitely just put on our watch list here. But there's also a couple of other stocks that are making moves here, that have made moves from this week that, are very similar to BHAT, where, it's dropped off for, quite some time on the daily chart. And we ended up seeing a big squeeze, at least from yesterday or from this morning in pre-market. So very quickly, let's just go over a couple of the other stocks that I'm referencing here. The TBLT trade, this is one from pre-market and really from the afternoon yesterday, it started to pop. I mean, at 330, 345, we ended up seeing some buying coming in. Perhaps they ended up knowing what was going to happen here for this morning. Well, it ended up leading to a big run at the end of the after hours. And then from that point, obviously, big move early in pre-market, but look at the daily chart. Even way more of a drop compared to that BHAT trade, right? From 260 all the way down in just over a year. What the hell happened to this company? So, hey, we always like to kind of label ourselves here, not just as day traders, but folks, we look to, follow the big money, the smart money. We're not as inclined to care about the news for a company, its fundamentals, its financials as much, because we're getting in and out quick, right? So, definitely want to focus on that for investing and swing trading, obviously. But I don't know this stock, at all. So I had to take a quick look. Tough Built Industries. It designs and distributes home improvement and construction product lines under the brand name Tough Built. Its major categories contain a total of approximately 11 product lines consisting of soft goods, which include knee pads, tool bags, pouches, soft belts, metal goods. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why this stock ended up getting crushed for as much as it has been. Maybe it was just way overvalued as an IPO. Like that could be, just a quick shoot from the hip thought. I mean, it was $100 when it first opened up, it seems. From there, ran all the way up to 260 and then dropped off since. But, this stock has a lot of recovery room here, folks. So given what we've seen here on AERC and, ADN, VEDU, CLVS, I can keep going. Just that's the type of stock that you definitely want to follow, not just from the daily chart, but it's evidenced here in pre-market. There's a ton of volume being traded. It's trending upward. We're seeing a lot of buying, or short covering. So with that, TBLT definitely going to put on our watch list here for the open too. Speaking of CLVS, I wrote it on the losers list this morning on my column this morning. It was down like 5-6%, but it ended up squeaking up a little bit. This was one from actually yesterday afternoon, and then even from earlier this week, back from Tuesday this week, ended up making a bit of a pop then. We had called it out right after the market opened up at that time. Well, stock ended up dropping from like $90 back in 2017. A little while back, but from 90 clean shot all the way down. So it has a lot of recovery room here, folks. That's where I'm getting to. So it's pushed up a little bit after 8 o'clock in pre-market this morning. A little flat right now, right? I wouldn't mind tagging this just on our watch list at the end. I'll put it on our side list here to begin, though. The CLVS trade. This could easily be a good stock to follow if the stars could align here for the open. All right, and how about this? Get a quick chat from one of our long time students, Barb. She ended up just chatting me right now, the info on TBLT. Well, it's a reverse stock split, 1 for 150, or 150 to 1 for 150. I think 1 for 150 as Barb wrote. So Barb, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hey, just the more you know, right? So, with that, let's keep moving. But, that's the reason why TBLT is, running up this morning. Now, with reverse splits, though, we also know, much like with, just any short squeeze or news that comes out, again, I can't stress it enough. When the volume dies off, that thing is going to get crushed. It's going to get halted likely on the way down. It's going to be an ugly trade. So you have to be prepared for that, right? The more it goes up, you got to wonder, when is it going to come back down, right? So I appreciate that, Barb. Thank you very much. Let's see. So the CLVS trade I said I was going to put on our side list to begin. What we should just do right now, folks, is go right from top to bottom here. There's a couple of others that I, can go through here. The VEDU from yesterday, the PETS trade. We'll actually get to PETS here in just a moment. So, let me just start from the top here. The TBLT we talked about. The Zen trade. The Zen is actually a buyout. Zen's a buyout, and it was a buyout from pre-market this morning, after hours yesterday, but I have no idea what the hell happens, early in pre-market this morning, at least, after 8 o'clock, huge drop-off. I guess some extra news came out in terms of the actual price per share, where it's bought out at. So I think Brian had listed that just earlier. We're not going to trade this. So, it was just pretty interesting at the time. One of my students, Mark, chatted me because he was actually looking to short it, just trying to get a few cents perhaps, but he wasn't expecting the big drop. And oh man, missed opportunity a bit, Mark, but there's plenty more to come after the market opens. Not on this stock. We'll move away from this stock, but there's definitely a lot more opportunity to follow, at least heading into the market open. All right, so BHAT's on our list already. The MITQ, as we continue to go through, this one unfortunately dumped off. We had called this one out after the 8 o'clock spike. We were really early to the punch on the pop here, and then it continued to push up pretty nicely at first, but the wheels fell off, right? So from there, only has continued to dump off after, and, again, very similar, right? From like 25 down over the last year, but this is a prime example of what happens once the momentum dies off on the initial trend up. So is it possible for it to run later? Yeah, it's possible. I'll write it down on our side list for right now, but I feel like there's better out there, at least at this point. BZ, is that Benzinga Pro? I'm kidding. It's not. Canzun Limited American Depot. All right. So this thing is moving up a little bit, but it's just pretty thinly traded. It's only trading 113,000 shares here at this point, but even more so, it's just how illiquid the order book is here in pre-market. Even if that fills in a little bit, that's not really something I'm itching to trade. It's a summer Friday, folks, so that's also something to really stress here. The volume's going to die off within the market, a little earlier. You should expect that at least. If that doesn't happen, then that's more of a gift to us. It gives us just more extra time to, try and get those trades in. But, at least that happens more often than not, where you tend to see the volume die off earlier within the market. A lot of these market makers are taking the weekend off or starting the weekend early, perhaps. And with that, there's just not as much momentum or volatility within the market. Perhaps given how much the market has dropped off lately, maybe we get some short covering. That's also possible, but I'll take things as they come. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have low expectations, take things as they come, and if it ends up being a pretty damn good morning, then it's a gift. All right, let's hop on over to the loser side here, folks. I mean, hey, the market ran much higher heading into the close yesterday, but heading into the open, even here, like things a little stagnant. There's a couple of things to at least keep an eye on here, from the loser side. So we'll check out those. The PEV trade, that was one even from yesterday and back from Wednesday of this week. We ended up seeing just make a huge squeeze up, new IPO. There we go. I don't know, my computer's a little laggy here. The PEV trade ended up making a big squeeze up. I'll show you just that on the 5-minute chart here, at least after the market opened up, made a big pop from 6 upwards to 850. And then from there, it pulled back down pretty sharply. So, at this point, again, right now, I have no business on this, trade here heading into the open, but nice little pop from yesterday too, to talk about there at least. Phil says my audio is breaking up. Hopefully not too bad. It may have been just a small lapse on internet there. Hopefully that does not continue. But I believe I'm good to go otherwise, right? The REV trade ended up dropping off from the last few days. So again, another example of how much a stock had run up, but then it dropped off yesterday, down another 7 to 8% this morning in pre-market. It's a good sideless stock. It's definitely one I'm going to keep an eye on, over time, even today. But it's not one I'm going to start off with. So after the open, if this makes a pretty good bounce, then it has my interest. But I don't have any lines on this chart, folks. Just so you know, for any of my phase 2 students here, at least, I don't really have any lines on this one here. For the open, the only two actually that I have my lines set for are TBLT and BHAT. Actually, the two that we have on the list. So right now REV could be one to follow after the open, but for right now, not going to start off on it. VEDU, another big one from yesterday, popped up pretty nicely from like 170, 180. I ended up catching this with one of our students on a coaching call yesterday from 2, ran it up towards 229, 230. And then from there, I got out half shares at that point, and then I wanted more, didn't give it to me. So as it dragged back down, I ended up clipping out the remaining shares at like 222, 221 as it dropped off. So, nonetheless, it gave pretty good opportunity throughout the morning, but look at where it is now, right? Same to be said here as it was on PEV and REV. All right. What else we got here on the loser side here this morning, folks? Got SWBI coming off earnings. I know Michael had mentioned that from yesterday afternoon. It's down 4%. It has some activity in the after hours, right? Why does it not have more volume traded for the pre-market here this morning? That's my concern, right? So, again, it's good stock to keep on the side list, just given obviously a lot going on with, legislation and guns and all that stuff. But, just to say, this should be a good day trade at some point. Just another one I'm not going to start off with. It's one that we'll kind of keep on the side with the CLVS, the MITQ, the REV trade. All right, folks, that might just be it, really. I mean, I saw a couple on the loser side there. The REV I thought could have had some juice to push back up, but not just yet. MREO from this week, I mean, it's only down 3%, so maybe chart looked bad. All right, so I think that just about wraps it up, folks. If there's anything else on the gainers or losers lists for all of us on YouTube or Facebook Live, or for all of us live inside the trading room, just type it in the chat board. Let me know. Check out the 4 stocks I put on the proverbial side list here. Keep in mind, for all of our students live inside the trading room, we have the phase 2 course continuing today. We're going to begin that at 10:35, so we got the full morning here, at least, the first hour of the market open. But we're going to continue our classes back from Wednesday of this week. We're going to talk more about gap fills and the proverbial dead cat bounce, DCB as we abbreviate it. So I look forward to that. That's more of a live market focused class, so gives me some good flexibility to kind of just flow around the market, and we'll see what happens. But there's the link if you want to just kind of get ready and be prepared for that class later on this morning. Now, anything else, folks? John, XXII. Yeah, right. That looks pretty interesting. It's trading 164,000 shares. Book is kind of thin right now, but we know that's going to fill in after the open. XXII normally is a very liquid stock. It's not always like the best trade, but it's been moving the last couple of days really nicely, and then obviously here breaking higher in pre-market. Really good call. I like this. Yeah, I'll put this on our watch list for right now. It did not pop up yet on my Benzinga scan. I mean, it's probably not pushing up too fast, but it's up over 7% right now, so it's really strong here. Check out my NEO trade. I know I saw LI and XPEV. These are 2 Chinese EV stocks. They were up big in pre-market. LI and XPEV are up like 4 or 5%. NEO not up as much at the time, but it seems like a lot of these are beginning to pull back here. It looks like the LI trade right now. XPEV. LI was a sharp drop. Jeez. And then the NEO trade. I mean, all of these are tradable, right? So I'll keep all of them on the side list. I'm probably more focused on NEO. I don't have my line set up on NEO just yet even, so I got to get to that here after this meeting. But, nonetheless, though, I mean, they're all moving pretty well, so I'm sure that we'll look to call them out at some point after the open. But I like the 3 that we have here in particular, the BHAT, the TBLT, and then the XXII. CLVS not doing it really here for me. MITQ, given how much it's up in pre-market percentage-wise, 29-30% still, it doesn't hurt us to put this on the main list, at this point here. We don't have too big of a watch list. So MITQ, but look at the trend. It's trending down, so you got to expect for that to continue, at least initially, or for some sort of consolidation at first. And then from there, maybe later on in the morning, 10 o'clock perhaps, we'll see a big pop. All right. So, folks, I think that just about wraps it up. I want to make sure all of our students and myself perhaps are prepared here for the market open. For all of us on YouTube and Facebook Live, I look forward to speaking to you later on today. But if you're not joining me later on this afternoon for the afternoon meeting, well, TGIF, enjoy the weekend. But with that in mind, any questions that you may have, feel more than free to send it on over through email. I always like to post my email address here at the end of these streams, josh@ctutrading.com. So again, any questions that you may have regarding our call outs, our streams, our education for stock trading or crypto trading, feel free to let me know, josh@ctutrading.com. If you wanted to join us inside our live trading room, feel more than free to do so by going right down to the link on the blue banner below right there to get yourself started. But for Grant, for John, for Phil, for Brian, where are the ladies at here? Where are the ladies at right now? Where's Leda? Where's Kathleen at? Where's Nina? There we are. Perfect. All right. Yehuda we got here. We got Bill, who are not ladies, but we got everybody else here right now joining us right now, heading into the market open. I look forward to speaking to you folks coming up in just about 10 or 11 minutes. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of